Okay. So I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Kincardine at 5 o'clock on August 28th, 2024 in the council chambers at the Municipal Administration Center. Roll call to begin. Deputy Mayor Clark.
Present.
Councillor Blackwell.
Present.
Councillor Kavanaugh.
Present.
Councillor Hinchberger.
Present.
Councillor Prenger.
Present.
Councillor Stanoff Gray.
Present.
Councillor Stewart.
Present.
I'd like to also acknowledge our staff members that are here and some in the public gallery as well. Councillor Kavanaugh, please.
Thank you. It is with great privilege that we gather here on the shores of Lake Huron, which has been the site of human activity for many thousands of years. We wish to honor the ancestral gardens of the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation, which includes the Chippewa of Nawash Unceded First Nation and the Chippewa of Saugeen First Nation, who are the first to inhabit, care for, and live on this land. Today, many Indigenous peoples continue to live and call this land home. As an organization and as individuals, we at the Municipality of Kincardine are dedicated to learning and acknowledging Indigenous history and culture and are committed towards actions that move us towards a journey of truth, healing, and reconciliation. We recognize and deeply appreciate the contributions that Indigenous peoples have made, both in caring for these lands and in strengthening and shaping this community.
Thank you, Councillor. Tonight, before we begin our agenda, we'd like to take a few moments to recognize the life and influence of Councillor Doug Kennedy while he was with us, and we mourn at his passing. I'm going to offer council members an opportunity to share a reflection if they would so choose. And I would begin by addressing Deputy Mayor Clark, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I should also take the time to note that last week we lost Craig Arumi, who was a member of the Accessibility Advisory Committee. So our well wishes are with that family. In relation to Doug Kennedy, I had the opportunity to serve on the last council with him, but particularly the physician recruitment committee. We'd start our mornings at 8 o'clock, our meetings, and Doug was ever so enthusiastic. And it became very clear to me very quickly his passion for healthcare. When there was something to be presented to council coming from the committee, Doug would take the time to give me a quick call. He would start off with saying, I just wanted to see what you thought about this, but he really didn't want to see what I thought about it. He wanted to ensure that I was going to be able to support what he was putting forward. And irrespective of how I started that conversation, undoubtedly by the end of it, I was more than persuaded. His view was very clear that we needed to do whatever we could to ensure that we had doctors recruited as well as nurses for this municipality. Healthcare was one of his primary concerns. And if I had been a little delayed or a little slow in getting my Rock for the Dock tickets, I would initially get an email to my council account. If I didn't respond within 24 hours, there'd be emails to my other accounts. And they'd start off with, hi, Andrea, I'm in town. I can swing by the office now and drop off the tickets. He kept me accountable. I'm sure Councillor Kavanaugh will do the same. It was unwavering, not only his commitment to healthcare, but that towards recreation and family. There was never a time that I met Doug that he wouldn't ask about my boys. He exemplified what leadership was, certainly for me. We often have misconceptions that leadership power comes from top down. It comes actually from bottom up. It's the ability to interact with individuals on various levels, earn their respect, and gain their trust. And that is what Doug Kennedy did day in and day out. And while this community as a whole mourns this loss, we can take some comfort, I would think, in knowing we are all better for having interacted and known Doug, and this community is better for the leadership role that he took within it. I once remember hearing that, you know, life really isn't determined on the number of years that you lived, but the number of lives that you've touched. And the outpouring that has been seen over the last week has been unbelievable in every sense of the way. He has touched so many lives in so many respects. And I know that we are all so much better for having known him. And there is no one else that could get me to come to a council meeting in a sports jersey other than for the purpose of Doug. Thank you, Mayor.
Further comments? Counselor Hinchberger?
Memories I have of Doug, I thought originally that I'd only known Doug a couple of years since we were on council together, but later found that not actually to be true, and we go back almost 50 years, but neither one of us knew it. Like Deputy Mayor Clark said, the joke for me would be Doug, healthcare and sports, raw. I don't think the ink was dry in the 2022 election when I didn't get a message from Doug Kennedy wanted to have what became one of the first of our little meetings in 2 adjacent vehicles in the parking lot in front of the pavilion looking at the lake while we exchanged various ideas. What I remember Doug about here is Doug was a guy I could always rely on when the meeting got long and the blood sugar got low and there was any kind of break, that he had a stash in the drawer over there, especially of Kit Kats that I had to subsequently replenish. I'll miss that. When I knew it was Jersey Day, I thought maybe the ultimate thing to do, I spent a little time trying to find if I could find a 1975-76 St. Mary's Lincoln's jersey, but that hit a dead end pretty quick. But what I discovered at the time was that the 1975-76 St. Mary's Lincolns, who played in the Western Junior B Hockey League and won the All-Ontario Crown, they were in the same league as the Sarnia Bees, which is where I grew up. And at that time, I would have roughly been 10 or 11 years old, probably, I don't know what age that would be right now, Bantam or Pee-wee and stuff like that. And I have strong memories of being in the Sarnia Arena watching the playoffs against the Lincolns in those times and hating St. Mary's. So the beauty of it is I also was able to find a photo of the 1975-76 team. So you can see a picture of Doug Kennedy probably in his late teens or early 20s. And I guess it's a reminder to me is that every one of us, and Doug included, is, you know, I may have known Doug closer to his 60s, but we're all at our various ages. We're the sum total of our lives at all those various 5-10 years increments before that. Doug, I never saw Doug grumpy. He handled, while he was here, his physical challenges with a lot more grace than I will do when the time comes for me. And that seat over there will be very difficult to fill. Thanks.
Councillor Blackwell had her hand up a moment ago. Then we'll go Kavanaugh and Stewart.
Thank you very much. I just before coming out to council, stopped by the Legion where I had the opportunity to grab some wings in his honor and chat with a few folks that was there. And I think more than anything, it's that everyone has a story, almost everyone in town. And I wrote some notes the other day that I'd just like to share, and that I knew of Doug long before I ever had the pleasure to actually know him and work with him. I grew up here in Kincardine, and so from a very early age, I was aware of his reputation as an entirely decent, caring, hardworking, and generous man. And getting to know him, he still managed to exceed my expectations. His humble, gentle nature was certainly endearing, but it was his ability to get things done that I found incredibly inspiring. He always led from the front, putting in more time and effort than anyone else I've ever seen. He was visionary but pragmatic, honest without ever being hurtful, and always willing to listen and ponder. Being a buddy of Doug's was a special treat. He knew how to bring people together and how to make them excited about a common goal. He genuinely cared about people. As Deputy Mayor Clark said, I don't think he ever interacted with me without asking about my family and remembering what we had last talked about. And so no matter the time, topic, or place, having a chat with him left a smile on my face. He really loved this community, but I don't think he loved anything more than he loved his family. One of our last long conversations was him trying to convince me that I needed to go and swim with dolphins in Florida because he had watched his grandchildren do it and it was the highlight of his year. And it just filled him with such a joy to talk about spending time with his family. And I know that they will be missing him incredibly much. He meant so much to so many people, to those family members, to his friends, to our council, to the community. There's so many who never even had the pleasure of meeting him that will have their lives changed and improved because of his drive to build a better community. And carrying on his legacy is going to require a little bit more from all of us. It might look like a few more hours of volunteering, a little bit more donated to the causes he championed, a few more kind words, a few more offers to lend a hand. He really showed me that incredible communities don't just happen, they are built by the actions of those who share their time, energy, and care with others. I'm sure you all received emails from Doug. Almost every single one ended with thanks, DK. And so in the end, I just want to say thanks to you, DK, for everything.
Thank you very much, and through the chair. A lot of the things that were posted and shared online just reminded me that Doug was that butterfly that flaps its wings and has a million little ripple effects that echo across the community. In talking with my wife and just trying to process the tragedy of Doug's passing, we realized that we were one of those ripples indirectly. She told the story to me before the pandemic, rewinding time, where at the time she was very pregnant with our second child and had driven all the way from Belleville to Kincardine, was doing some locum work down here to test it out, and a wonderful man. She just had a rough day, wanted to go back, and a wonderful man, it was Doug, came up and was like, we should do lunch. And so she went to lunch and they talked about nothing about medicine. It was entirely families and activities and what connections could be made. And she didn't think anything of it, but when she came back from that particular locum route, she told me, like, I think this is the place. And so now when we look at that now, I fast forward to in 2022, when I was frustrated with the way things were going and I wanted to do more in the community. And I was thinking maybe I'll run for council. And all of a sudden that same wonderful man appeared and he said, we should have lunch. And we had that conversation and it laid the groundwork for me sitting here today. So tonight I'm wearing my Bulldogs jersey because I don't think we would have the team and have the arena we have today in this town. And they're playing tonight, so after council, you should go out and support them without Doug. So thank you, Doug.
Councillor Stewart, please.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. I was wondering, driving down the main drag and seeing all these hockey jerseys, I was wondering what, visitors and tourists would be thinking on a warm day like this. What's going on in Kincardine? They're all wearing jerseys. I attended Catch the Ace at 4 o'clock over at the Legion, and everyone was wearing a jersey, and Russ did a nice eulogy on Doug and everything. I can't lie to you. Doug and I were opposites. And I think, yeah, little chuckles, smiles, and everything else. Everyone knew that. I think, over the 6 years that I was a council member with Doug, I think we voted yes on maybe 5 different occasions. We always seemed to take an opposite view, but I did have a respect for his view. And he was just a huge contributor to the Kincardine community. And you can see it. I mean, there's so many people. Everyone seemed to know Doug Kennedy. And wherever he is, I know that he'll be appointed to the All-Star team. So all the best to you, Doug, and hope you, you are a real treasure for us in the community. Thank you.
Councillor Stanoff Gray, please.
I had the good fortune of taking a drive home from Toronto with Doug from Roma, and he handled my driving like a champ. So I got to give him credit for composure under pressure downtown Toronto. But the one thing I'm going to say about that car ride that really struck me as he talked about the different kids he mentored throughout the years was how genuinely happy he was for the achievements of others, and those achievements that I'd like to think he played a part in, and how genuinely sorrowful or the hurt he'd take on when they didn't meet those goals. He felt it personally. And I think that just really showed. Yeah.
Councillor Prenger, please.
Thank you. I was lucky enough to get to know Doug a little bit better personally, like not just on a council level a few times. And found out we had, some common interests and some actually historically, like, family things that were in common. It was kind of neat because I didn't know him that well before council. I think everybody knew of Doug in some way or another, but definitely thankful that I had the chance to get to know him better and work with him. He, even before we knew each other like that, right off the bat, he actually just thought it was hilarious to razz me at the beginning of every single council meeting. And the first time, I'll just tell a little story, because the first time he did it, I gave him a look and you could see the terror on his face. He thought he actually hurt my feelings. He's the sweetest man. And I had to explain, I'm like, Doug, no, I would never take something like that personally. Calm down. And from then on, he thought it was hilarious because he knew my situation. He knew that my circumstances, and he was razzing me about something that couldn't change. He warm-heartedly did it, and it was fun. But what I remember most is his not just willingness, but like his drive to help. He didn't just help when you asked him to. He asked if he could help, and I appreciate so much. He helped me find used skates and equipment for my kids, which I'm sure everybody knows can be difficult and expensive. We have several, and I think he's probably done it for, I'd say, thousands of other families in this community. And that's just one of the small things among many that he's done for our community. So I hope that until someone is brave enough to try and step into his very large and honorable shoes to take up the things he was passionate about. I really hope that us as counselors, where we feel the same, we can do so in the interim. Thank you.
So what is the measure of a man? Or what is it that shows or measures the value of a person's life? So I'd like to quote Martin Luther King Jr. And he said, "The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. And your ability to overcome unfavorable situations will provide you with time to demonstrate your true strength and determination for success." So how did Doug demonstrate his strength? The word that I landed on in my thoughts was dignity. Dignity not being the aloof or aristocratic sort of dignity that you might think, but rather his dignity was in his humility and perseverance, dignity in his actions, but also dignity for others, which was expressed or demonstrated through respect and loyalty. So his family, his friends, his community will miss him and his demonstrations of dignity. So we'll honor Doug now, reflecting on him during these few moments of silence in his memory. Thank you very much. Those were excellent and appropriate words we heard. So, of course, with everything government, there is a process for addressing Doug's absence. His seat will be declared vacant, not this evening, but at our September 11th meeting. And the clerk will provide the direction and the options that council will address moving forward in an effort to replace, as Councillor Prenger said, someone in those big shoes. So there is process, as well as there's a science and an art to this thing called grief. All right, moving forward with our agenda. Are there any other amendments, additions, or deletions to or from the agenda? Once again, I remind you to disclose your pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof, either now or as it arises in the meeting. I'd like to address Councillor Blackwell, please.
Thank you. Through you, I need to declare a conflict of interest on matter 6.1A, Kincardine Community Fund report, as it's a direct pecuniary interest for me as my employer has and is currently receiving funding through that organization.
Okay, thank you. So we need a mover and seconder that the minutes of the council meetings held August 13 and August 14 be adopted as printed, moved by councillors Hinchberger and Stewart. All in favor? That's carried. And here we are at matters for public participation. We have a delegation from Neil Jeffhagen. And Mr. Jeffhagen is going to speak to a request for the development of a municipal flag. And once again, it's great to have a delegation, and it is that there are 5 minutes to speak. And we thank him very much. And if there's interest in what they present, then it comes forward as a motion or direction to staff in a subsequent meeting. Good evening, Mr. Jeffhagen. Welcome to council.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Craig, councillors, CAO Julian Belchamber Glazier, and the residents of the municipality of Kincardine. Thank you for providing me with the opportunity to speak to you today. I also wear this hockey jersey in honor of Doug Kennedy and his family. My name is Neil Gagan, and I have lived in this community since 1976. My wife Sharon and I have 3 children who were born and raised in the municipality of Kincardine. In fact, all 3 of our children were born in the Kincardine Hospital. We have 4 school-age grandchildren who also live in our community. I'm here today to talk to you about flags. For generations, countries have flown flags as a symbol of national identity. Every nation has a flag that they are proud to fly. Canada has a beautiful maple leaf, which is officially recognized within our country and around the world. I remember as a young immigrant boy, along with my family, watching the newly created Canadian flag being raised for the very first time in 1965. It gave me and my family a deep sense of pride and a promise of a brighter future for all Canadians and future generations of Canadians. Flags not only represent a national identity, but also regional identities, such as our provinces and territories and their unique identities. Flags are also used to unite like-minded countries and to encourage a global order based on a common set of values. One such flag is the United Nations flag. Other flags are created to allow a nation's best athletes from corners of the world to peacefully compete under the Olympic flag while representing their country. There are also several flags raised throughout the year to remind us of who we are and what we are trying to achieve, to raise awareness and to encourage acceptance within marginalized communities, or to raise health and safety issues such as breast cancer awareness and so on. On occasion, we lower flags to have staff in order to recognize the loss of a person or people who have had a profound influence on us at the national, provincial, or community level. Sadly, a reality that we recently experienced ourselves with the loss of our beloved councillor, Doug Kennedy. As a service club member and a community volunteer, I've had the privilege of working with the mayor, council, and administration staff earlier this year to receive permission to raise a service club flag in the municipality of Kincardine. I'm happy to say that council and the administrative staff were very supportive in allowing this goal to be achieved. We are very grateful for the support that you have provided. The municipality has also been very supportive in raising various flags throughout the years to honor and recognize various local initiatives in an effort to raise awareness of diversity, inclusion, equity, and acceptance, such as the Pride flag and the Black Liberation flag. It's been a challenging year for council and our community in some of these areas. There's one flag, however, in my opinion, that does not exist. You may ask, what flag other than the ones that I've mentioned recognizes a sense of identity, a sense of community, a sense of belonging, and a sense of pride? In my opinion, the answer is quite simple. It is a municipal flag. During my previous discussions with the municipality of Kincardine representatives, I discovered that the municipality of Kincardine has not had a municipal flag since amalgamation in 1999, 25 years ago. There have been several generations of councils since that time, but this issue, to the best of my knowledge, has never been formally raised. Several towns, villages, and hamlets exist within the municipality of Kincardine in wards 1, 2, and 3. Along with our farming community, towns such as Kincardine and Tiverton, villages such as Inverhuron, hamlets such as Burvey, Armo, Underwood, and Glamis, to name a few, are a vibrant part of our municipality. The strength of our municipality is the sum of all these towns, villages, and hamlets, and farming community. To that end, I would like to suggest that council and/or senior administrative staff take a leadership role in striking a committee to establish criteria and/or guidelines for the development of a municipal flag. I would recommend that a committee be comprised of a senior administrative staff member, possibly a director of community services, and local area residents, possibly one resident from Kincardine, one from Tiverton, and one from Inverhuron, to represent our community as a whole. I think a wonderful way to bring our community together during these challenging times is by running a contest open to local area schools, students, and other residents in general to design a municipal flag that we can all be proud to fly within our community. Perhaps sometime in 2025, we can hold a Municipality of Kincardine Day and simultaneously raise a newly created flag in various districts or wards within the municipality. Let's move forward together and continue building a community that we can all be proud of. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Gagan. Any questions regarding confirming any of the comments Mr. Gagan has presented? Or if not, we thank you for your presentation. Oh, Councillor Stewart.
Thank you. And through you, Chair, I was actually over in Laurie's office and it turned out that, Laurie, did you want to speak on behalf? There's a little more history about our flag, and there is actually some sort of type of flag that exists. Is that correct?
Manager, please.
Through you, Mayor Craig. We have two flags that we have the Municipality of Kincardine's logo on, which we use for parades and special events. It's basically our brand of our organization. So it's a little bit different than I think what's being spoken of by the delegation, but we do have a municipal brand flag.
Councillor Stewart.
Thank you. And through you again, Chair. I think this is a worthy task, and I'm not sure, we can do a motion probably next meeting and everything, but I could support, I like the idea of, inclusiveness and maybe rally around a flag. If I had my druthers, I'd also, and are you sitting down, Mayor? Yes, you are. I might even change the name of our municipality because, inclusiveness sometimes, but I think this is a worthy cause, and I think that I'll probably be moving forward with probably a notice of motion at the next meeting. Thank you.
I think the name Inverhuron's already been taken, so.
Yeah, don't worry.
Thank you, Neil, for your presentation this evening.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
We're going to, actually, I'm going to inject a little bit of something that wasn't on the agenda here. I'd like to take a moment just to introduce our new fire chief for the municipality of Kincardine. Guy Gallant comes to us with experience and energy and enthusiasm. Mr. Gallant, welcome to our council meeting this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Craig and council. Just very short words tonight. I am on the way to fire training. First off, I would like to extend the condolences of the fire department myself to Councillor Kennedy. I did not have a chance to meet with him. But I know in speaking with all the firefighters, they spoke of the same words that you've spoken of. Many of them have gone to hockey and whichever else with them. So tonight they're all wearing their jerseys, and we'll have a team photo with that as well. So my condolences for your loss and for the loss of the Kennedy family as well. So just a very quick brief meeting. So put a face to a name. my name's Guy Gallant, and you can tell by the name that I am French originally. Not that useful in Bruce County, but it's okay. So I'm really happy to be here serving as your fire chief. For the last 4 years, I was in South Bruce, and previous to that, I spent 25 years in the fire service of Nova Scotia. So a little bit of learning curve coming into Ontario with that. So again, I'm very pleased to be here. I know we have a very strong fire service to start with, so my goal is to continue with that. I want to work with council. I know it's a growing community. It's a great community. I can tell that, you know, driving around, I've had a great reception so far, and my focus is, again, future planning, making sure that we all work together and work in collaboration with council and with all the stakeholders for that. So really just wanted to come and say I'm here. I have an office, I believe, over there if I can get turned around from where things are. So generally I'll be spending a lot of time here and as well as in the station. So if there's any questions, by all means, I'll be able to answer those.
There we go. Thank you, Guy, for being here this evening. We look forward to your leadership skills at our municipality.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
All right, we have a staff report, Kincardine Community Fund, and we welcome Stuart Reid here this evening. He's from the Community Foundation Grey Bruce, and he's going to update us on their works, and we have a resolution following regarding their and our staff's cooperative work. Stuart, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, and on behalf of Community Foundation Grey Bruce, I'd like to extend our sincere condolences on your loss of Councillor Kennedy, a colleague and community member. Doug was a member of our Kincardine Community Fund Advisory Committee for a couple of years, so I got to work with him and enjoyed his passion and how he was so generous with his connections and ideas, and really was such a passionate placemaker. And I know that must be a huge loss for you all. And so I remember him fondly and thank him for his service to the Kincardine Community Fund. So tonight I just wanted to bring you some greetings and a little bit of reintroduction to what Community Foundation Grey Bruce does. I know you're all pretty familiar with what we do, but I'm going to give you some just a little bit of an introduction and a little bit of data on what's been happening with the Kincardine Community Fund over the last couple of years as well. You probably know about the Community Foundation. We are investing in community through endowment building, and in a nutshell, we take in gifts from individuals, communities, agencies, and we invest those monies in endowments. And with the earnings on the endowments, we create granting, and we grant back to community through charities and not-for-profits, supporting all areas of community well-being, from arts and culture to sports and recreation, health and well-being, the environment. The list is long, and as we continue to grow, our impact deepens right across the region of Grey Bruce. Community Foundation Grey Bruce is part of 207 community foundations that dot the landscape across Canada from coast to coast to coast. And the mission statement of our collective, Community Foundations of Canada, the umbrella agency that guides and supports us, is to relentlessly pursue a future where everyone belongs. And I know that some of that wording is going to resonate with you. Some of the remarks this evening have pointed to that consideration of diversity, equity, inclusion, and reconciliation, and making sure that everyone is cared for and ensured of success in our communities. On the slide, there's a map of Canada, and you can see those little purple placemaker dots are where the community foundations have been established. And so it's quite a diverse map that continues to grow. There's a lot more dots in the north than there was a few years ago. And collectively, the community foundations manage over $6.3 billion collectively. So that's that's a GDP of a good sized country. And so we're really having a lot of impact with the earnings off of those assets and really creating opportunities for people right across the country. The cycle of activity, I think you're all familiar with. This is a wonderful little infographic, but we work on engaging donors. We want to talk to people about what we can do for them in terms of their crafting of a legacy or giving back to community. We encourage them to make contributions, and we make sure that we accept gifts in very many diverse ways. And then we invest those gifts. We create grants with the earnings, and then we create community impact. And we talk about that through community storytelling. That's a great way to build and engage with new donors to start the whole cycle over again. We also exist to improve the quality of life in our community today and forever. And that forever part is really important about the community foundation model. As I mentioned, those endowments are held in perpetuity, which is a very long time. And so we are really charting the course for a sustainable community network for generations to come. And this model has, taken root in 1921 in Canada with the establishment of the Winnipeg Community Foundation, which celebrated its centenary a couple of years ago. And this year, we at Community Foundation Grey Bruce celebrate 30 years since our inception in 1994. Just in terms of some statistics, we now manage in our 30th year more than 200 funds. And I'm going to correct this slide because we just did our half year kind of inventory of assets, and we're up over $22 million in endowed assets. And last year we granted out over $840,000 to charities and not-for-profits across Grey Bruce. And right now we have 7 community funds, Kincardine being one of them, but also in Owen Sound, Meaford, Grey Highlands, Saugeen Shores, a brand new one in Saugeen River Country, which is West Grey and Durham, and Southgate and Kincardine. So quite a roster, a growing roster of those funds that support projects in those municipalities proper. And there's some statistics. I know you've looked at these slides, so I won't go through all these, but just we report back to the community every year and our impact is growing. I think on this slide, some of the things I haven't mentioned maybe is the engagement with the education pathways of students in Grey Bruce. We have over 60 scholarships, and last year we had over $80,000 of bursary scholarships and awards given to support young people from our community in their chosen education pathway. And the thing that sets us community foundations apart from some of the foundation products that national banks offer is that we're locally managed with local knowledge, and we really are a grassroots organization. This is a picture of our board staff picnic last year, and we have a diversity of skill sets that come to the table from the 12 individuals that step up for our board, and they are wonderful stewards of those assets and really engaged with community need and inform a lot about what we do as an organization. As I mentioned, community storytelling is the best way we have to really convey what we do to new donors and to families and to communities across the region. We believe that the best way to spread the word is through getting like talking to like. So getting people that have received a grant or have been touched by a scholarship or some sort of capital grant to talk about the impact of that. It really does encourage more giving and more community philanthropy across the region. So our Kincardine Community Fund has been very active over the last number of years, and we're very proud of that. The municipality has been supporting it, and we had a very active volunteer committee that Doug Kennedy participated on, where we were actively fundraising and getting out. I'm sure many of you attended our cardboard boat race down on the harbor during the Marine Heritage Festival for a couple of years. And it really was a great mechanism for building awareness about the impact of philanthropy. So it was established in 2015 with a donation of $8,378. And it began to grant in 2018. And so since 2018, we've invested back over $20,000 in grants to organizations here in Kincardine. And that also covers the whole region. The organizations in Kincardine also benefit from community granting and other funds that we have available. So collectively, over $250,000 has been funded through 2 communities in Kincardine, Ripley, Tiverton in the area from Community Foundation Grey Bruce over the last number of years. And our total fund value of the Kincardine Community Fund now is coming close to $100,000. So again, each year it increases and has more granting power, and we're very proud of that. over the last number of years, we've granted to quite a diversity of not-for-profits and charities in Kincardine. I've got a list up on the screen. I'm sure you're all familiar with these wonderful organizations. And this year in 2024, we supported 3 projects. One Big Brothers Big Sisters Kincardine District for a summer camp, the Kincardine Good Food Box. So it was about food security and boosting healthy eating for people in the community with almost $3,000. And Women's House Serving Grey and Bruce received $3,000 to expand a lending collection related to technology to benefit local people as well. So we're very proud of these grants, and that's all due to the wonderful granting power of the Kincardine Community Fund. Over the years, we've celebrated a lot of wonderful projects, the Moby mats that are down on the beach. Here's some pics of, that's our Community Foundation team with our boat in the cardboard boat race one year. We also were one of the first funders of Kincardine Pride and attended the festival. Books in the Bruce was one of the recipients. Community Living Kincardine. Drop in at the bridge very recently. The Patty Walker Museum Mural Project was a recipient of a grant. The Pine River Watershed and Women's House Grey Bruce as well. So I think that the impact is growing and spreading, and all of those organizations have a story to tell about the grant they received and the good work that they were able to do. And that impacts everyone in the municipality. We're very proud of that. One of the new initiatives that Community Foundation Grey Bruce is engaged in that can benefit the Kincardine Community Fund is our subscription to the Willpower campaign, which is a new campaign through the Canadian Association of Gift Planners. And it's really encouraging all Canadians to consider giving a gift to a charity in their will, and really reinforcing the notion about the will as being a very important way to shape a legacy and to give back to community. The campaign also reinforces the notion that giving to a charity doesn't take away from what you're leaving your heirs. It can actually introduce tax benefits and capital gain savings that really are like cash in the pocket for everyone, in addition to benefiting some of the great work that happens in the community. So we have a lot of materials and a website that's available to help people that are at that stage of making a plan for their estate to make that consideration. Over the last couple of years, the Willpower campaign has charted some successes. When we started out, only 5% of Canadians had made provision for a gift to charity in their will, and that number shifted to 8% over the last year. So we're really proud of that, and we want to keep the message flowing and continue to share that idea with folks. And Willpower also encourages people to consider giving not just cash, but there's provision, and Community Foundation Grey Bruce has the facility to accept gifts of appreciated security, life insurance, RIFs, tax-free savings accounts, all manners of financial products we can take in and provide tax receipting and some great benefits to families that are interested in supporting their community that way. I hope that's going to be something that has some resonance in Kincardine. One other project that I wanted to talk about a little bit because of Kincardine being a beautiful, healthy shoreline community is our Lake Huron Forever project. Since 2019, we've been linked with 2 community foundations on the other side of the lake in Michigan in working on an action agenda about nature-based solutions for stormwater management, and really kind of making links between philanthropy and healthy shoreline communities, as I mentioned. And one of the projects we've supported a couple of times is the Green Ribbon campaign, which has been educating shoreline landowners about the importance of indigenous grasses and dune preservation. And those landowners become educators of their neighbors. So it's a wonderful kind of knowledge passing process that we've supported through our granting through Lake Huron Forever as well. And I also wanted to mention the model of the community foundations is really becoming very interested. And I think this is coming out of the pandemic when people were saying to us, you save for a rainy day. Well, it's raining now. How are you going to address this? And we're investing all the time these large assets, now us $22 million. And we want to do more work locally with those assets. So make them engage in meaningful ways locally in the community. So in 2019, our board decided to partition 1% of our total assets as a social impact investment fund. And since we've done that, we've been investing locally in in ways that benefit social enterprise. We've taken on a mortgage for a social enterprise, the Harmony Center in Owen Sound. We've invested in community bonds that are providing increased capital for housing starts through Habitat for Humanity. And most recently, we invested in a sustainable transportation project on the Bruce Peninsula that's providing e-bikes to tourists and also supporting seasonal workers getting from their home to their job. And so some really interesting things. And I think that's an interesting thing for Kincardine to consider too, that organizations in Kincardine can participate in that. And we're welcoming partnerships and conversation with agencies that would like to take advantage of that local investment opportunity. And we continue our work in knowledge gathering as well about community well-being. And I think you've all seen our vital signs report. The first one was done in 2016. We followed up in 2018 with a vital focus on youth, sort of digging into the perspective of young people in Grey Bruce about particularly a statistic in the first vital sign that said not less than 60% of Grey Bruce youth intend to live or stay in the community after their studies. So we wanted to find out more about what their perspective was on community well-being, and that's all framed in that vital signs report. These are all downloadable on our website too, if you want to read a little bit more. And then in 2022, we did quite a impactful data survey on the housing crisis that is we're all talking about in communities across Canada. It's not particular to Grey Bruce, of course, but there's some wonderful sharing from institutions and data centers in that report, as well as Indigenous agencies, and talking a little bit about the Indigenous perspective on what homelessness means from their perspective. So I encourage you to look at those, and we're planning another report in 2025. So we're just pulling that together right now. Those reports are wonderful tools to forge conversation with prospective donors, to kind of point out the areas of community need that are there. So really helping to shape conversations which might result in more endowments that are addressing those arising concerns. Oops, I did hit the button there a little quickly. One of the other things we've been utilizing in the last couple of years are the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. I hope you're all familiar with those 17 goals, and community foundations of Canada and around the world are really embracing these tools to kind of gauge measurement of how our work locally is really having a global impact as well. We're very mindful of things on this list that we can tackle in Grey Bruce that are going to have some resonance nationally and internationally in sharing with our networks of other philanthropic agencies. So I know that's quite a whirlwind of information, and I appreciate having the opportunity to share a little bit with you and renew acquaintanceship. And I thank you for your attention. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have about anything I've shared.
All right, so the municipality of Kincardine currently has an agreement in place with Community Fund, and to keep the conversation focused, I need a mover and seconder that council directs staff to work with the Community Foundation Grey Bruce to investigate options to update the agreement currently in place, moved by councillors Deputy Mayor Clark and Steinhoff Gray. Questions? All in favor? There we go, Stuart. Thank you for the
Wonderful.
presentation
Thank
this
you.
evening.
And I look forward to the work ahead. Thank you.
All right. And of course, that any updated agreement comes back to council for approval anyway, so we're. All right, video surveillance policy update. We need a mover and seconder. The council approved the updated video surveillance policy as presented. Councillor Hinchberger and Stewart, questions for our clerk? All in favor? I'm sorry, did you have a question, Councillor Prenger, that you needed to ask? Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. Unfortunately, I didn't have an opportunity to dig up the last version, so I couldn't compare them word for word. Pardon? Oh, sorry. I didn't have time to review that part. Can you just tell me, Section 5.2, the last paragraph of section 5.2, is that new? I don't know why I didn't see that link. I honestly did not see it attached. I'm sorry. If you had to look up, I can look it up. Sorry about that.
Through you, Mayor, sorry, the last paragraph?
Yeah, about. oh,
Could you
sorry,
read,
I
could you
scrolled
read what
down.
that last paragraph says, just so
Yep.
we're,
It's about new equipment in open public spaces such as streets or parks.
Through you, Mayor, yes, that was in the previous one. That there be public consultation.
Yep, okay, thank you.
Deputy Mayor, please.
I just have a quick question. The impact assessment it seems to fall under the security or threat assessment. However, or at least a portion of it does, because you're going to have to assess the privacy and see whether it's justifiable or intrusion. But the way it's worded in the policy is that a privacy impact assessment will be conducted when there's significant changes to the program. Is it not conducted each time that there's going to be a camera placed somewhere?
Through you, Mayor. The privacy impact assessment would be done basically for an entire facility. So it wouldn't necessarily be done if we added one camera to a facility, but if we went to a new location. Privacy impact assessments have been done on the locations that we currently have.
That's fine. I think my reading of it, just when it says program, I thought it was talking about the video surveillance program as a whole, as opposed to facility. So perhaps that would be my only change, not critique, but just so that's clear, because I think it gets done at the same time that you're going to be uploading. Okay.
Having heard the questions, are we still in concurrence that we approve the updated video surveillance policy? All in favor? Okay, that's carried. Consideration of bylaws. So we have the video surveillance policy bylaw. We need a mover and seconder that the video surveillance policy bylaw is hereby read first, second, third time. Finally passes bylaw number 2024-120, moved by councillors Blackwell and Stewart. All in favor? That's carried. So we have the consent agenda. Items listed under consent agenda are considered routine and enacted in one motion unless the councillor would like to have one withdrawn for discussion either this evening or at a future council meeting. Any reports that you would like to have withdrawn for discussion? Okay, we need a mover and seconder that council approve the recommendations contained in the consent agenda dated August 28, 2024, and direct staff to proceed with all necessary administrative action. Moved by councillors Steinhoff, Gray, and Kavanaugh. All in favor? And that's carried. Moving on to council general announcements. Councillor Steinhoff, Gray, how about you start this evening?
I have no announcements today.
Councillor Kavanaugh.
Thank you very much. I'm going to steal a little bit of your thunder and through the chair announce that I'm really excited for the upcoming Kincardine Fall Fair. I hope everyone will come out this weekend and enjoy it and we get some good weather. And that's going to be combined with an event going on through the municipality as well as the BIA to sort of cap off a wonderful summer that we've had with our main street being open.
Deputy Mayor.
Good luck to everyone who's sending kids off to school next week. I am all ready.
Did you just say you've already sent them off? I think. Councillor Hinchberger. Councillor Hinchberger, please.
I have nothing to add tonight, Your Honor.
Councillor Pranger.
I have nothing tonight, thank you.
Councillor Stewart.
Yes, thank you, and through you, Chair. The Inverhuron year-end beach wrap-up is going on Saturday night. They have a concert in the park, in the upper park. And on Sunday, we have our fun race starting at 9 o'clock in the provincial park. So if you have nothing else to do, come and join us in the community of Inverhuron. Thank you.
Councillor Blackwell, please.
Thank you. I am also very ready for my son to go back to school, but I would also like to remind everybody to watch for little children running to the bus. Next week, there'll be lots of folks getting back into the swing of things. I expect you're going to mention Councillor Kennedy's funeral. Okay, so September 1st at 1 o'clock is Councillor Kennedy's funeral at the Davidson Center. His final fundraiser will be his reception in the hall afterwards. And again, everyone's invited to wear their jerseys to that. And last, I'm just really looking forward to the last Saturday night pipe band this weekend. So a really beautiful summer to close off with that.
Only 3.5 months till Christmas. Yeah. CAO, please.
Yeah, a couple of announcements. I don't think anyone said it yet, but the last night for cruise night is this Friday. So please come out and join us. I was told today I could put my car in even though it's electric, but special novelty item. So we'll see. As well, we are, just a reminder, we are hosting the Canadian Association of Nuclear Host Communities summer meeting September 6th, along with Bruce County. So we're looking forward to having some folks from across the province and maybe from out of province join us as well. And as a reminder, Council, you passed the bylaw with respect to private trees on, or native trees on private property. So that comes into effect at the beginning of September. So there will be some media release and updates on our website. Just a well-planned implementation is what we're aiming for. And we'll provide you with some messaging in the event that you get any questions about that in the month of September. Thanks.
All right, so we need a mover and seconder. The council move into closed session pursuant to section 239 of the Municipal Act is amended for the purpose of considering closed session minutes dated August 14, 2024, considering a trade secret or scientific, technical, commercial, financial, or labor relation information supplied in confidence to the municipality or local board, which if disclosed could reasonably be expected to prejudice significantly the competitive position or interfere significantly with the contractual or other negotiations of a person, group of persons, or organization. Westerio Power Inc. shareholder presentation. And a position, plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board, specifically Bruce C. Project, and further the council return to regular open meeting upon completion. Moved by councillors Blackwell and Deputy Mayor Clark. All in favor? And that's carried. And if you need, we have a 5-minute bio break.